Alright, today I'm gonna try to record a short video where I explain how Genshin leveling works. I'm also using my Asia account, which is only AR-17, so somewhat potentially more ideal than using a more beefed up account. So when you go to your character menu and you go to attributes, this is where you level up your character. Your HP goes up, your defense, your attack, and whatever extra skill that character has. For the Traveler, it's attack percent. For Amber, it would be something else entirely. Usually your character levels up a little bit while you defeat monsters and things. This works particularly well in the beginning of the game for like the first 10 levels or so. But afterwards, it doesn't work so hot. So, what happens is you get to a point where you want to use these EXP materials. Purple ones are the most efficient. Obviously, red ones are mid-tier, and the white ones don't do so much, especially as you progress into the game. As you can see, it also says that a certain amount of Mora is required. That's something that you're going to have to think about every time you level up your character, your weapons, your artifacts, your talents. Mora is always needed. The higher the level of leveling you're doing, the more Mora will be required. Right now it's pretty cheap, especially depending on the material I use. The price goes up, but Mora tends to be a particularly finite resource. You could always get more Mora from gold ley lines. Let me show you very briefly what gold ley lines are, assuming I have some on the map right now. Yep, right here, this would be a gold ley line. These yellow circles, that's a good place to farm Mora. And these blue ley lines are good spots for farming the EXP materials. So yeah, character leveling, pretty simple. What you will notice is once you hit a certain level, you'll have to ascend to higher phases, and that requires materials. So always be mindful of what materials you need in advance. For the Traveler, I need materials I can only get from the Adventurers Guild, as well as Wind Wheel Asters, which are found around Statue of the Sevens in Mondstadt, and also these damaged masks from the Hilichurls. You also need to be certain adventurer ranks to ascend to different levels. And generally, for other characters, you might need materials dropped from bosses. So this is where a lot of boss battles come in. You can also ascend weapons. So you go to weapons, and you press... For PS4, it's triangle. For PC, it might be some other button. And as you can see, this weapon is ready to be ascended, but I need some materials that I get from domains, which are these little tooth-looking items. I'll show you what domains look like on your map. Domains are these square diamond-looking images. So if I click here, this one has some Primo Gems and things I could get. A good spot is usually Cecilia Garden. This one has those tubes that I was looking at. And there are other good spots that unlock later on, such as Domains of Mastery, which would be... This is one example, the Forsaken Rift. Well, let's go back to weapon leveling, and let's choose a different character who might not have a weapon that's ready to ascend. So let's look at Amber. For Amber, if I want to ascend her weapon, I have to choose materials. Generally, these crystals are very good for ascending weapons and can only be used to ascend weapons. You could also sacrifice other weapons, but you want to be very careful with this because let's say I have two of the same weapon, like I have a few recurve bows here, I got 3 of them. If your character is, let's say for example, using a recurve bow, like I can give her one right now, then later on at some point in the game, in addition to leveling up the weapon, I can also refine it, which means I can sacrifice the same type of weapon to enhance the attributes of the weapon. In this case, the attribute would be Cull the Weak, which it says right below Refinement Rank 1. So if you get a lot of the same weapon and it's a weapon that you like using on a character, you don't want to sacrifice those for EXP. Next, we have artifacts. Artifacts can be leveled up by sacrificing other artifacts. This is something else that you want to be somewhat careful of, as, you know, your artifacts are going to be very important later on in the game. For the most part, only 5-star artifacts might be important in the beginning of the game. Maybe 3 stars, 4 stars. 1-star artifacts generally are just trash. You can get rid of them. But let's look at what's important here. As you can see, my Traveler has 2 set bonuses. Lucky Dog, which increases her defense by 100, and Adventure, which increases her max HP by 1000. These are not the best set bonuses to have, but it's the start of the game, so I don't have a lot of wiggle room. As you can see here, as you peruse your different artifacts within each category, they have a different set classification, let's call it. So these green feathers have the Adventurer, are part of the Adventurer set. These blue feathers are part of Traveling Doctor. So as you read, you can see if I put 2 different artifacts with the Traveling Doctor attribute, my incoming healing increases by 20%. If I have 4 Traveling Doctor artifacts, my Elemental Burst will also restore 20% HP. So you could increase 2 of the same set for bonus, or sometimes even 4 of the same set. Most people usually stick to 2-piece sets, that way they get 2 different bonuses. And this is something you're going to want to research very closely as you move on in the game, because certain characters are better built in specific ways. Like, I know people say for Barbara, you want to stick to like HP percent, for Jean, attack percent. And then you might want to consider whether you want to lean toward increasing your crit rate or increasing elemental damage, or a little bit of both. But yeah, definitely look into that. As you can see also, let's say I want to have a set with Traveling Doctor. The artifact itself also has different bonuses. So for right here, all of these blue water pitcher looking objects are of the Traveling Doctor variety, but these 2 have HP percent. Over here, it's Pyro damage bonus, Electro damage bonus, Geo damage bonus, defense percent. And that's something else that you're going to want to cater to your specific character and the way you're trying to build them. I know for DPS, I think they usually say like a lot of Elemental percent, and maybe crit percent is good, but that's something you're going to have to research on your own and for whatever specific character you're trying to build. Constellations, you level up as you get certain constellation items, usually when you're wishing or rolling in banners. If you get the same character more than once, that's when you're going to get those constellation enhancing items. So that's something to be on the lookout for, be mindful of. As for the Traveler, you'll get them as your adventure rank increases. Or you might also get them from special shops, like the shop with Wind Comes Glory in Mondstadt, and you'll trade Animo Sigils or Geo Sigils for them. Lastly, we have talents. You can't really increase talents until you get to Phase 2, which is your character leveling ascension in the attributes section. Right now, my character is Phase 1. When I get to Adventure Rank 25, I'll be able to ascend to Phase 2. And as you increase your phases, you can increase these talents. The first one for every character is always your physical attacks, which apparently, you know, I'm not going to be able to show you in this profile since I'm not Adventure Rank 25 yet. But the first one is always for your physical attack percent damage. The next one is for your special skill, in the Traveler's case, Palm Vortex. And then you usually have one for your ult. And those are the 3 that you can level up. They require materials. Again, materials that you will most likely get from domains, these book-like objects, or even scroll-like materials. And they might require more, of course, and also other materials that enemies will drop. So always pick up everything that an enemy drops, because you can always craft it to a higher level item or use it for your lower level talents and skills. But yeah, if you have any questions after watching this video, feel free to ask in the comments below the YouTube video. If you're a Discord friend of mine, feel free to ping me in the Discord. But hopefully that was an informative and somewhat clear explanation of how character leveling, weapon leveling, artifact leveling, constellation, and talent leveling works. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe for more content of Genshin or anything else of interest. We do a lot of gaming, anime content, so on and so forth. Thanks for watching the video. Hope it helped, hope you enjoyed. Take care.